Hello everyone, I'm Doris from Susan's family. Today, I'm showing you how to make the colorful fruit bouquet, the apple in my eye style. This tutorial's pattern is available on en001.com. Please feel free to view on it. The bouquet consists of two parts, the flower branches and the packaging. We have a separate video for the packaging part. This video only covers the making of individual flower branches. The flower branches include the apples, flowers, leaves, and assembly. First, complete the crocheting of each part, then assemble them at the end. Start by crocheting the apple. Start with the adjustable magic ring. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. After completing, we will add the stem. Let's get familiar with the chart. In the chart, our plus number indicates the round number. The increase and decrease explanation column shows the stitch techniques and the increase or decrease needed for this very round. The total stitches column shows the total stitches after completion. The stitches used for the apple include short stitches, SC2 in 1, and SC2 tog. Now, please watch my demonstration of the specific crocheting method. Before we start crocheting, let's learn the basic posture for crocheting. To make it clearer for everyone, I will use thick yarn for the demonstration. The color is random. For specific yarn details, the color schemes and hook size, please refer to the detail pages and the pattern of our product. First, begin with an adjustable magic ring. Pick up the yarn with your right hand. Wrap it twice around your left index finger. Now there are 3 strands on your index finger. Use your right thumb and index finger to pinch where the loops overlap and take it out. Then wrap the yarn once around your left little finger. Pass it through between your middle finger and index finger. Transfer the loop to your left thumb and middle finger. Pick up the crochet hook with your right hand. Move the hook between these 2 points. Insert the hook into the loop. Position the hook to the left of the yarn. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. Now there is 1 loop on your hook. Continue with chaining 1 to secure. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. 1 chain is completed. Pull tight. Note, the loop on the hook should not be too tight, or it will be difficult to crochet later. Like this, the magic ring is completed. Now let's work the first round. First, chain 1 as the turning chain for the single crochet. The turning chain does not count as a stitch, so it is not indicated in the chart. When crocheting in rounds, unless otherwise specified, you need to make a turning chain at the beginning of each round, and the turning chain for the single crochet does not count as a stitch. This will not be repeated again. Next, work a single crochet into the magic ring. Insert the hook into the magic ring. Yarn over, draw the yarn through. There are now 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over again, draw through the 2 loops on hook. 1 single crochet is completed. To the right and above the single crochet, you'll see a V-shaped braid. This is the stitch of single crochet. Continue to work single crochets. Insert the hook into the magic ring. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over again. Draw through the 2 loops on hook. The second single crochet is completed. You need to work 6 single crochets in this round. Continue to work the remaining single crochets. After that, we will close the magic ring. There are 2 loops. Gently pull the starting tail. You can see a loop is moving. Tighten the moving loop. There is one loop remains. Pull the yarn tail tight. The ring is now closed. Next, join a slip stitch in the first stitch of this round. I will show you how to find the first stitch. Count back from the stitch on the right side of the hook. The sixth V-shaped loop is the first stitch. Insert the hook. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. And draw through all the loops on the hook. A slip stitch is completed. This is the braid formed by the slip stitch. The joining slip stitch does not count as a stitch. It needs to be tightened. The slip stitch is not marked in the chart. When crocheting in rounds, unless otherwise specified, each round should end with a tight slip stitch. This will not be repeated later. This way, the first round is completed. Move on to the second round. In the chart, round 2, indicated, work 6 single crochets without increase or decrease. This means, for the second round, work single crochets into each stitch from the previous round. There are total of 6 single crochets. For any similar format encountered later, the method remains the same. Chain 1 as a beginning chain, then work single crochets into each stitch from the previous round. Place the yarn tail above the hook. Weave in the ends as you go along. Work this round completely. After the last stitch is completed, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Insert the hook. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. Pull through all the loops on the hook. A slip stitch is complete. Tighten. Like this, round 2 is completed. The starting yarn tail has been weaved in for one round. You can trim it now. Continue with round 3. In the chart, round 3 indicate 6V. V means 2 single crochets into the same stitch. In this round we will work 6 SC2 in 1. Chain 1 as a beginning chain, then work into the first stitch of the previous round. Make it SC2 in 1, which means working 2 single crochets into the same stitch. SC2 in 1 completed. Then work at SC2 in 1 into each of the remaining stitches. Complete this round. After completing the last stitch, join with a slip stitch into the first stitch. Pull tight. The third round is complete. Move on to the fourth round. In the chart, round 4 indicates, repeat 1 SC and 1 SC2 in 1 6 times. The parentheses here indicate a group. The number after the asterisk indicates how many times to repeat. Here, it means to repeat the stitches inside the parentheses 6 times. Start with the first group. Chain 1 as a beginning chain, then work 1 single crochet. Next, work 1 SC2 in 1 to the left stitch. This completes one group inside the parentheses. I will demonstrate it again. Work 1 single crochet. Then work 2 single crochets into the same stitch. This is the second group. Continue to complete the remaining groups. After completing the last stitch, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Pull tight. Just like this, the 4th round is completed. Now let's work the 5th round. Chain 1 as a beginning chain. Repeat the pattern in parentheses 6 times in this round. Work 1 SC2 in 1. Then work 2 single crochets in sequence. This is the first group. Complete the remaining groups. After completing, join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet stitch. Pull tight. Like this, the 5th round is completed. Let's look at the texture. On the back of the stitches, there are bumps like this. This side is the wrong side of the fabric. The other side is the right side. When crocheting, keep the right side facing you. Now I'll show you how to count rounds. On the right side of the fabric, there are raised textures in circles. Avoid the starting position. Count how many rounds of these textures there are. That indicates how many rounds have been worked. You can see there are 5 rounds of texture now, which means 5 rounds are completed. For the 6th round, repeat the stitch pattern in parentheses 6 times. From the 7th round to the 9th round, the stitch pattern in parentheses is repeated 3 times. From the 10th round to the 15th round, pick up the stitches from the previous round. Work single crochets correspondingly. Each round has 39 stitches. You can finish these rounds by yourself. Now let's start round 16. Work 11 single crochets without increasing or decreasing. Then make a SC2 in 1. First insert into the thread closest to the front on the left side. Then into the front loop of the adjacent stitch. Now there are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over. Pull through the first 2 loops. 2 loops remain on the hook. Yarn over, and draw through once. 1 SC2 in 1 completed. This method of picking only the front loop to decrease is called an invisible decrease. Using this method to decrease, the gaps between stitches are smaller, making the fabric more delicate overall. This completes one group inside the parentheses. Move on to the second repeat. Work 11 single crochets first. Then work 1 SC2 in 1. Pick up the front loop of the next 2 stitches on the left side. Then yarn over. Draw through the first 2 loops. Repeat this step twice. SC2 in 1 is completed. This is the second time. Continue to finish the third time. Finish with a slip stitch to join. Pull tight. As you can see, this is what we have after completing round 16. For the remaining rounds, you can refer to the pattern in the chart and crochet accordingly. Continue working until there are about 2 rounds left. Now there are 2 rounds left. We need to add filling. Fluff up the filling and stuff it in. Then continue to working the remaining 2 rounds. Keep adding filling while crocheting. After completing the last round, chain 1 to secure. Leave a tail of about 15 centimeters and cut the yarn. Pull out the yarn tail. Thread it into the sewing needle. Insert the needle into the front loop of each stitch. Then pull tight all at once. Next, insert the sewing needle into the center. And through out to the center of the first round. Then insert from an adjacent position. Similarly, throughout to the closing point of the final round. Then insert from an adjacent position. Throughout to the center of the first round. Pull tight the yarn tail. Create a small indentation here. Then pick up a strand and tie a knot. Remember to weave in the yarn tail a few times. Now we will make the stem. Cut a piece of thin wire about 8 centimeters long. Fold it in half. Then cut a piece of yarn in the corresponding color. Thread it through the middle of the wire. Tie a knot to secure it. Then twist the wire tightly. Apply a bit of glue to the wire. Wrap the yarn tail around it. Make sure the end of the yarn tail is securely glued. Don't let it unravel. When done, use a needle to slightly enlarge the closing position of the apple. Apply a bit of glue to the wrapped stem. Insert it and glue it securely. In this way, one apple is completed. You can use the same method. Crochet the remaining number of apples and set them aside. Now let's make the flowers, which include the flower main part and the calyx. We will crochet them separately, and then assemble them together. First let's work the flower. Start with an adjustable magic ring. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. The new stitch techniques used are double crochet and treble crochet. Please watch my demonstration. First, start with an adjustable magic ring. After the magic ring is completed, begin to work the first round. Chain 1 as a beginning chain. Then repeat the stitch pattern in parentheses 5 times. First work 1 single crochet. Follow with 3 chains. This is the first time. Then work the second time. First work 1 single crochet. Follow with 3 chains. Complete the remaining repeats. After the last 3 chains are done, close the magic ring. Note that there are 5 single crochets in total. Then join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet. Tighten. Like this, the first round is completed. Move on to the second round. The square brackets in the chart indicate crocheting into the same stitch. This round is worked into the chain spaces from the previous round. First, work 1 slip stitch into the left chain space. Then chain 2. Followed by 1 double crochet. Yarn over. Insert into the same chain space. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. There are now 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over. Draw through the first 2 loops, leaving 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over, and draw through in once. 1 double crochet is done. Next are 2 treble crochets. Wrap the yarn around the hook twice. Insert into the same chain space. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. There are now 4 loops on the hook. Then yarn over again. Draw through the first 2 loops. Repeat 3 times. One treble crochet is complete. Move on to the second one. Wrap the yarn around the hook twice. Insert the hook. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. Then yarn over again. Draw through the first 2 loops. Repeat 3 times. The second treble crochet is complete. Then in the same chain space, work 1 double crochet. Yarn over. Insert the hook. Yarn over, draw the yarn through. Then yarn over again. Draw through the first 2 loops. Repeat 2 times. Another double crochet is done. Then work 2 chains. And then work 1 slip stitch in the same chain space. This completes the group in the brackets. Then work the second time, which is in the left chain space. Work the same group here. Start with 1 slip stitch, 2 chains. Then work 1 double crochet, 2 treble crochets. Then work 1 double crochet, 2 chains and 1 slip stitch. This is the second time. Continue and complete the remaining 3 times. After the last time is done, join a slip stitch in the left chain space. Then chain 1 to secure. Leave about 5 centimeters of yarn tail before cutting the yarn. Weave in the yarn tail on the wrong side of the fabric. Weave in starting yarn tail as well. This way, 1 flower is completed. You can use the same method to complete the remaining flowers. Next, we will work the calyx. Start with an adjustable magic ring. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. The new stitch used is the CH1 picket. Please watch my demonstration. First, complete the magic ring. Then work the first round. Chain 1 as a beginning chain. Then repeat the stitch pattern in parentheses 5 times. Work 1 single crochet. Then work 1 CH1 picket. Make 1 chain. Then pick up the front loop of the single crochet and the left side thread. Work 1 slip stitch. CH1 picket is completed. This completes 1 group inside the parentheses. I'll demonstrate again. Work 1 single crochet. Then work 1 CH1 picket, which means make 1 chain first. Then pick up these 2 threads and work 1 slip stitch. This is the second time. Complete the remaining 3 times. After that, close the magic ring. Then join with a slip stitch into the first single crochet. Pull tight. Then chain 1 to secure. Leave about 30 centimeters of yarn tail, and cut the yarn. Pull the yarn through from the center. Make sure it comes out on the right side. Weave in the starting yarn tail on the wrong side. One calyx is completed. Next, we will assemble the flower. First, take out the main part of the flower and 5 pistils. Fold the pistils in half. Insert the hook into the center of the flower. Slightly adjust. Leave about 1 centimeter at the top. The heights should be uneven. Then trim the excess part at the bottom. Make sure not to cut it too short. Then securely glue the bottom part to the flower base. Next, cut a piece of thin wire about 25 centimeters long. Pick up one thread at the bottom of the flower with one end of the wire and insert. Then fold it in half. Slightly tighten. Then insert the wire into the calyx. Apply a little glue on the wrong side of calyx, and secure it to the bottom of the flower. After completing, wrap the reserved tail from the calyx around the wire. Apply a little glue at the top position. and secure the end of the tail, making sure it doesn't come loose. Then, brush a little blush onto the flower. This way, the flower is now assembled. Next, let's look at the finished leaves, which include large leaves and small leaves. Both are started with a foundation chain. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise from the foundation chain. The new stitches used are half double crochet and TR2 tog. Please watch my demonstration. First, work the small leaf. First, cut a piece of thin wire, about 30 centimeters long, and set it aside. Then, start with a foundation chain. Hold the yarn with your left hand. Hold the hook with your right hand. Place the hook underneath the yarn. Wrap the yarn counterclockwise. With your left thumb and middle finger, pinch the crossing point of the loop. Position the hook to the left of the yarn. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. This slip knot does not count as a stitch. Slightly tighten. Adjust the loop size. Then work 10 chains. Like this, the foundation chain is completed. Move on to the first round. Chain 2 as beginning chain. These 2 chains count as 1/2 double crochet. Next, in the last chain stitch of the foundation chain, which is the third chain from the end, work 1/2 double crochet, yarn over. Insert the hook into the back loop of the chain. Take out the prepared thin wire. Place it above the hook, wrapping it in as you work. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. There are now 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over. Draw through all 3 loops on the hook. 1/2 double crochet is complete. Next, work the second one in the adjacent chain. Yarn over. Insert the hook. Remember to wrap the thin wire as you work. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over again. Draw through all 3 loops on the hook. Another half double crochet is complete. Next, work a double crochet in the left chain. After completing that, work a CH1 picket. Then, in the adjacent chain, work another double crochet and a picket. After completing that, work a double crochet and a picket in the left chain. Next, work another double crochet and a picket in the same chain. Note that work these in the same insertion point of this double crochet. Then, refer to the chart, and continue working until there are 2 chains left. When you reach the spot, work a half double crochet first. Then work a half double crochet in the left chain. Work another double crochet. And a picket. After completing, work another half double crochet in the same stitch. Then rotate the piece. You can see that there are 2 threads left at this chain. For the rest stitches, we will pick up these 2 threads and work in it. Work the symmetrical stitches. In the corresponding stitch, first, adjust the thin wire. Make both ends approximately the same length. Begin working. Mind not to insert into in the same insertion position of the 3 stitches. When working this side, you need to wrap the wire and the weave in the yarn tail as you go. After the last stitch is completed, join a slip stitch into the beginning chain. That is, the braid on the right side of the first half double crochet. Pick up 2 strands and work a slip stitch. Pull tight. Leave a yarn tail of about 20 centimeters and cut the yarn. Then use the reserved yarn tail to wrap the wire. Like this, a small leaf is completed. Everyone, finish the remaining small leaves and set them aside. Now, let's work the large leaf. Similarly, cut a piece of thin wire and set it aside. Then, chain 13. After the foundation chain is completed, start working the first round. Chain 2 as the beginning chain. Then, start from the third chain from the end. Work 2 half double crochets and 2 double crochets. Make sure to wrap the wire as you go. When complete the double crochets, follow with the picket. After completing, at the position of the 2 chains on the left side, work 1 treble crochet accordingly. Above the treble crochet, work a picket as well. Then work a TR2 tog. First, work 2 incomplete treble crochets. Yarn over the hook twice. Insert into the same chain below. Yarn over, draw the yarn through. Then yarn over again, draw through the first 2 loops. Repeat twice. This is an incomplete treble crochet. Then work the second one. Yarn over the hook twice. Insert the hook into the adjacent chain. Yarn over, draw the yarn through. Then yarn over again, draw through the first 2 loops. Repeat twice. This is the second one. Then yarn over, draw through all the loops on the hook at once. A TR2 tog is completed. Then work a picket. First, make 1 chain. Then insert into the front loop of the stitch. Pick up 2 strands on the left. Work 1 slip stitch. Then crochet another TR2 tog. First, work 1 incomplete treble crochet in each 2 stitched on the left side. Then yarn over, draw through the loops on the hook at once. The TR2 tog is completed. Then work a picket. Next stitch is a special cluster. First, work an incomplete treble crochet in the adjacent chain. Then work an incomplete double crochet in the left chain. Then yarn over, draw through the loops on the hook at once. The special cluster is completed. Then work a picket. Continue working. At the last chain, work 1 half double crochet, then work 1 double crochet and 1 picot. Work 1 more half double crochet, adjust the wire when you're done. Rotate the piece. Work the symmetrical stitches on this side. For the special cluster, start with an incomplete double crochet, then work an incomplete treble crochet, complete the remaining part by yourself. When you done, join a slip stitch into the beginning chain. Pull tight. Leave a yarn tail of about 20 centimeters and cut the yarn. Then wrap the thin wire with the reserved yarn tail. Like this, a large leaf is completed. You can finish crocheting the remaining large leaves. Like this, the method for the leaves is now explained. Next, assemble the flower branches. They are divided into flower branch 1 and flower branch 2. Flower branch 1 consists of 1 apple, 2 small leaves, and 1 large leaf, and 2 flowers. Flower branch 2 consists of 1 apple, 1 large leaf, 2 small leaves, and 1 flower. The assembly method is the same. The only difference is the number of flowers. Now, let me demonstrate the assembly method for flower branch 1. First, take out the apple and the flower stem. Apply a little glue to the top of one end of the flower stem. Note that you shouldn't use too much glue. Then, insert into the center of the first round of the apple. You can use the crochet hook to make this center a bit bigger. Next, take the yarn of the same color as the leaves. Start wrapping along the bottom of the apple. After wrapping about 2 centimeters, take 1 flower. Start wrapping approximately 4 centimeters from the flower calyx. After wrapping a few rounds, add 1 small leaf. Start wrapping approximately 2 centimeters from the bottom of the leaf. After wrapping a few rounds, add the second small leaf. Similarly, about 2 centimeters away from the bottom of the leaf, start wrapping. Then add the second flower. Similarly, about 4 centimeters away from the calyx, start wrapping. After wrapping a few rounds, add 1 large leaf. About 3 centimeters away from the bottom of the leaf, start wrapping. Continue wrapping down until you reach about 10 centimeters away from the end of the flower stem. You can apply a little glue at any 2 points in the middle. No glue is needed for the remaining areas. When you have about 10 centimeters left, cut off the excess tail. Make sure the end of the yarn is securely glued. This way, flower branch 1 is assembled. For the second branch, start by adding the flower. Then add 2 small leaves and 1 large leaf in sequence. You can follow the same method to assemble the remaining branches. Up to this point, the entire making method for this flower branch has been covered. If you have any questions during the process, don't hesitate to reach us via our website. Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you for watching. And we will see you in the next episode.